Chosen one, stop for a moment. Do not let your mind drift. Archangel Michael is not bringing this word to you by accident. Heaven interrupted your path because there is something about your future spouse that you have been trying to understand with human logic. And the more you tried to solve it with your own mind, the more confused you became. Stay with me. What has been hidden is deeper than a number. You have asked in silence. You have asked in tears. You have asked when no one was watching, why has love taken so long for me? Why do I keep feeling that someone is prepared for me, yet the door does not open? Why do I keep sensing that a divine connection exists, but the timing never seems to agree with my heart? These questions have been sitting inside you for longer than most people know, and this is why you must hear me clearly. The delay did not mean you were forgotten. The silence did not mean you were denied. There was a reason certain details were covered. There was a reason your eyes were not allowed to see too much too soon, because if you had been given the whole picture before your spirit was ready, you would have tried to force what heaven was still forming. Many of you have grown tired of waiting. You stayed faithful. You kept your standards. You tried not to settle. And yet there were nights when you still wondered if your standards were the problem, because people around you kept pairing off, while you remained in a season that felt long, quiet, and painfully unresolved. You smiled for others, but inside you wondered if you had somehow been skipped. You have met people before. Some looked promising. Some felt familiar. Some stirred hope inside you so strongly that you almost convinced yourself, this must be it. But something was never stable. Something stayed misaligned. Either the peace was missing, or the consistency was missing, or the maturity was missing, even when the chemistry seemed powerful enough to make you ignore the warning signals your spirit was already sending. That is one of the hardest parts of your journey. You do not merely want attention, you want truth. You do not merely want companionship, you want covenant. And because your soul has been trained to search for what is real, casual connections have never been able to satisfy you for long, even when you tried to talk yourself into making something work that your spirit already knew could not carry your future. So you blamed yourself. You asked if you were too intense. You asked if you were too spiritual. You asked if you expected too much. And on the days when disappointment hit harder, you even asked whether your heart had created a fantasy that heaven never actually promised. But hear this carefully, chosen one. The ache inside you was not proof that you were delusional. It was proof that your spirit was made to recognize something ordinary connections could not fulfill. This is why counterfeit relationships felt so exhausting to you. You could participate in them for a while, but your inner life always paid the price. You would leave conversations feeling drained. You would notice the lack of depth. You would sense when someone was attracted to your warmth but not prepared for your calling, drawn to your presence but unwilling to honor your boundaries. That tension kept repeating, and each cycle left you more careful, but also more weary. You also began to notice another pattern. The older you became, the less willing you were to perform for love. You stopped wanting to chase mixed signals. You stopped wanting to decode every delayed message, every hot and cold mood, every temporary spark that demanded your energy but offered no peace. And even though that growth was holy, part of you still wrestled with a quiet fear. What if my growth is making the path narrower? What if my waiting is making me late? Michael is saying, no. Your growth did not make you late. Your growth made you ready to stop misnaming misalignment as destiny. There were people you could have chosen earlier. There were doors you could have walked through. There were attachments you could have kept alive through sheer effort. But if you had done that, you would have called bondage by the name of love. And heaven was not going to let your life be built on a confusion that deep. Some of you have been especially troubled by one private thought. You have wondered whether the person prepared for you will somehow fall outside the picture you created in your mind. You may never have said it aloud, but the thought has visited you. Will they be older than I expected? Younger than I expected? Will their timeline look different from mine? Will the story look different from what I told myself it would look like when I was younger and less formed? That hidden question matters more than you realize, not because heaven enjoys suspense, but because the human mind loves categories. It loves neatness. It wants everything to fit a familiar picture. It wants the blessing to arrive in a package that feels instantly recognizable. But your spirit has been entering a deeper form of discernment, and discernment does not begin with appearance, comfort, or expectation. It begins with truth, and truth often arrives in a way that exposes the limits of your old measurements. So, let me speak directly to the pain beneath the question. You are not afraid of love itself. You are afraid of wasting more time. You are afraid of misreading another sign. You are afraid of hoping again, only to discover that your hope was attached to someone who was not capable of meeting you in the depth, steadiness, and spiritual responsibility your life now requires. That fear has made part of your heart protective and part of your heart tired. But do not mistake that tiredness for failure. It is actually evidence. It shows that your soul can no longer feed on shallow things. It shows that you have outgrown performative connection. It shows that your spirit is rejecting what once kept you in survival mode. And that is why this message is arriving now. You are no longer in the same place you were when earlier doors appeared. You have changed. Your standards have changed. Your sight is changing. There is also something else you need to know. The reason this matter has felt spiritually charged is because it was never only about romance. For a chosen one, divine partnership is connected to assignment. It affects peace. It affects calling. It affects how energy flows through your life. The wrong connection does not simply waste emotion. It clouds judgment. It drains focus. It interrupts preparation. That is why so many false starts had to collapse before the true pattern could be recognized. Maybe you thought those endings meant something was wrong with you. Maybe you thought they proved you were difficult to love. Maybe you even thought heaven was disciplining you through loneliness. But Michael is reframing the whole story. Those endings were not always punishments. Many of them were protections. Many of them were removals. Many of them were exposures. Heaven was allowing your eyes to see what a connection feels like when peace is missing, so that later, when peace is present, you will not overlook it. Chosen one, the person prepared for you is not being measured by the shallow scale this world uses. This is why comparison has hurt you so deeply. You saw others marry quickly. You saw others settle into relationships that seemed easy from the outside. You watched timelines unfold around you that looked clean and immediate, while your own journey felt hidden, delayed, and full of unanswered questions. But you were never called to compare visible milestones when heaven was doing invisible work. And now we reach the edge of the first revelation. The truth Michael is opening is not simply about age. It is about why your old definition of compatibility had to break before real clarity could come. If your heart had remained attached to the picture you made years ago, you would have been too quick to accept what looked right, and too quick to reject what heaven was actually preparing. What was hidden for a reason. So, take a breath. Let this settle. If this season has taught you to stop forcing connections that steal your peace, I want you to write, I trust the timing. Seal it in your spirit. Because what comes next is where Michael begins to uncover the first layer of this mystery. And the first thing he reveals is not how old this person is. It is why your old way of measuring love could never lead you to the one heaven prepared. Chosen one. Now we enter the part that many people misunderstand. You may have spent years believing compatibility must look a certain way. Perhaps you imagined someone close to your age. Perhaps you assumed older meant safer or younger meant less prepared. But heaven is asking you to release the picture before you can recognize the person. This is where the first real reframe begins. Age is information, but age is not maturity. Time lived does not automatically create wisdom. A person can be older and still avoid responsibility. A person can be younger and still carry remarkable steadiness. What matters is not the number alone, but what the years have actually formed inside them. And before we go deeper, I want to be transparent with you. I am naming one resource early because I do not want to hide it behind suspense. Later I will explain the full context, but you should know what it is now, so you can decide for yourself whether it belongs anywhere in your own process. There is a tool called the Genius Song. It is presented as a short audio built around brain entrainment and gamma activity, with the purpose of supporting focus and mental clarity. If that part of this message speaks to you, the verified page is in the description and the pinned comment. You do not need to leave this message now. We are going straight back to the revelation, because the deeper issue is not whether a person is older or younger. The deeper issue is whether they have been formed. Have they learned how to carry responsibility without running from it? Have they learned how to stay honest when emotion becomes uncomfortable? Have they learned how to protect peace instead of creating confusion and calling it passion? This matters because many chosen ones create invisible rules after being hurt. You say, never again someone like that. Never again someone from that background. Never again someone outside the age range I decided was safe. Some boundaries are wise, but some rules are fear wearing the clothes of discernment, and heaven has been teaching you how to know the difference. Michael is not asking you to abandon wisdom. He is asking you to stop confusing control with wisdom. There is a difference. Wisdom observes character. Control demands predictability. Wisdom watches patterns over time. Control decides the ending before the relationship has even had a chance to reveal its fruit. You are being trained to choose clearly, not fearfully. Now imagine two adults whose ages are not what you expected, but whose maturity meets at the same level. Both have learned boundaries. Both can communicate without games. Both know how to carry purpose without making the other person responsible for their identity. That is the kind of alignment heaven wants you to notice, because alignment lies deeper than appearance. This is why some earlier connections had to end. They were not failures without meaning. They exposed your old equations. You once thought chemistry meant compatibility. You once thought intensity meant destiny. You once thought being deeply needed meant being deeply loved, but your spirit learned the difference, and that lesson changed the kind of person you can now recognize. That cycle is ending. The cycle breaker in you is learning to honor what is present. If a person is kind, let kindness be visible. If they are mature, let maturity show under pressure. If they are responsible, let responsibility appear without you begging for it. Real character does not need endless translation. It reveals itself through repetition. And this is where the hidden age question begins to change shape. You may have thought the mystery was, how many years older or younger will this person be? But Michael is moving your attention toward a better question. What have their years produced? Have those years produced peace, patience, honesty, responsibility, humility, and the ability to carry a shared assignment? Because a relationship prepared for your next season cannot survive on attraction alone. Attraction can begin a story. It cannot carry a kingdom assignment by itself. Two people need enough maturity to stand beside each other without turning love into rescue, control, or constant emotional repair. That is why readiness matters more than the picture you imagined. Some of you are beginning to understand why the wait was longer than expected. It was not only about you becoming ready. The other person has a story too. They have had lessons to learn. They have had patterns to break. They have had responsibilities to face. Their timeline has been moving, even while you could not see it. This is the formation gap. One person can awaken to purpose earlier while the other arrives later. One may learn boundaries in one season, while the other learns them after a different set of losses. And, quote, one may become spiritually serious first, while the other needs more time before their character can hold what their future requires. Different timing does not always mean wrong alignment, but listen carefully. This does not mean you should wait for an unavailable person to change. It does not mean you should attach yourself to someone unhealthy and call their delay divine preparation. You judge what is present. You honor what is real. You do not build your life around a fantasy, because genuine alignment does not require you to deny reality. That distinction protects you. Heaven is not training you to tolerate confusion. Heaven is training you to recognize fruit. Peace is fruit. Consistency is fruit. Responsibility is fruit. Respect is fruit. The right connection will not need you to betray yourself in order to keep it alive. And that truth matters more than any number attached to a birthday. This is spiritual discernment becoming practical. It is not mystical guessing. It is seeing clearly. It is noticing whether someone honors your boundaries without punishment. It is noticing whether they can apologize without becoming defensive. It is noticing whether they can celebrate your purpose without competing with it. These are the signs that reveal readiness. And now you can see why heaven could not give you the full answer earlier. If you had known too much while your old filters were still active, you might have searched for a number instead of a person. You might have rejected someone wise because they looked different from your picture. Or you might have accepted someone wrong because they matched the picture perfectly. And there is one more layer. One of you may have had to arrive later than the other. Not because heaven was careless, not because love was being withheld, but because two separate lives had to reach a point where both people could carry the same weight without collapsing into old patterns. The difference in timing is part of the mystery. Chosen one, hold that thought. Do not rush past it. In the next part, you will see why Ruth did not need someone who merely matched her calendar. She needed someone whose character matched the assignment. And when you understand that pattern, the hidden age truth will begin to make sense in a way that no simple number ever could. Chosen one. Now we move from feeling into evidence. The pattern becomes clearer when you stop asking only who will love you and start asking what kind of person can stand beside the life you are becoming. This is where the story of Ruth becomes important, because her breakthrough did not come through panic or forcing a timeline. It came through character meeting character. Ruth had already walked through loss. She had been tested by uncertainty. She had learned what loyalty costs when no immediate reward is visible. And when a new chapter opened, the deeper evidence was not excitement alone. It was responsibility, steadiness, generosity, and the ability to honor what was already being formed. That is why you must stop reducing divine connection to chemistry. Chemistry can be powerful. Chemistry can be immediate. But chemistry cannot create character where character does not exist. It cannot make an inconsistent person stable or turn confusion into covenant just because the attraction feels intense. The first marker is peace without performance. The person prepared for a mature connection will not require you to audition for love every day. You will not have to prove that you deserve the basic respect that should already be present. You have done that before. You carried conversations. You repaired tension you did not create. You gave extra chances because you saw potential. And while you were doing all of that, something inside you kept getting weaker. Your peace was being exchanged for access, and your heart was calling that sacrifice. Healthy peace feels different. It does not mean there are never hard conversations. It means disagreement does not become punishment. Silence is not used as control. Affection is not removed to create fear. You are allowed to speak honestly, and the other person remains present enough to hear you. And this leads to the second marker, mature responsibility. Calendar age can surprise you, but maturity should not stay hidden for long. A person can describe themselves with beautiful words, but pressure will reveal whether those words have roots. Watch what happens when plans change. Watch what happens when life asks them to carry weight. Maturity does not mean perfection. It means accountability. It means a person can admit when they were wrong without making you responsible for their shame. It means they do not disappear whenever closeness asks something deeper from them. This is where many old connections failed. You were drawn to potential, but potential is not the same as preparation. You saw what someone could become and imagined how beautiful things might be if they healed or finally chose consistency. But heaven has been teaching you to stop building your future around possibilities while ignoring present reality. Chosen one. The hidden age question has been pulling your attention toward the wrong measurement. You may have assumed an older person would automatically be more stable. You may have assumed a younger person would automatically be less ready, but years can offer experience, while character reveals what someone actually did with that experience. So do not worship the number. Observe the fruit. Can this person keep their word? Can they honor your boundaries when those boundaries inconvenience them? Can they remain kind when they are tired? Can they speak with respect when disappointed? These questions reveal far more than a birthday ever could. If this is helping you see your waiting season differently, stay present with the message. They may need permission to stop measuring their worth by how quickly a relationship appeared. Now we come to the deeper pattern. Peace is the first marker. Mature responsibility is the second. But the third marker confronts your old expectations the hardest, because it asks a question attraction alone cannot answer. Can this person carry the assignment connected to your life? You can have peace with many people. You can respect many mature adults. But not every peaceful and mature person is meant to build the same future with you. Partnership requires direction. It requires two lives that can move together without one person abandoning purpose to keep the other comfortable. This third marker is assignment compatibility. It is not about having the same job, personality, or gifts. It is about whether your values can live in the same house. It is about whether your decisions move toward the same kind of life, and whether both people can grow without becoming rivals. Some connections fail because the people are wrong for each other. Others fail because the direction is wrong. Two good people can still be moving toward different futures. Two sincere people can want incompatible lives. Alignment needs more than goodness, because shared purpose also requires shared responsibility. This is why the relationship prepared for your next season cannot be built only on being wanted. Being desired is not the same as being understood. Being admired is not the same as being supported. The deeper question is not only, do they want me? It is, can we carry what comes next without destroying each other? Ruth did not need someone who simply fit a fantasy. She needed a connection where character, provision, honor, and timing could meet. That is the pattern you are being asked to notice. Not a copy of her story, and not a prediction about your exact future. A pattern that mature connection reveals through consistent fruit. And now the age mystery begins to narrow. If one person is older, that does not automatically make them the leader. If one person is younger, that does not automatically make them less prepared. The real question is whether both adults have reached the same season of responsibility. Different years can still produce shared readiness. This is why one of you may have had to arrive later. One life may have learned responsibility earlier. The other may have needed more seasons before pride softened, boundaries formed, or purpose became clear. The distance between your ages, if there is one, is not the revelation by itself. The revelation is what those different years were preparing each person to carry. And that is what the message from Michael has been moving you toward from the beginning. The hidden truth was never meant to make you obsess over a number. It was meant to free you from using age as a shortcut for discernment. Heaven is pulling your eyes toward peace, maturity, and assignment because those markers can actually protect your future. So remember the 3 signs: peace without performance, mature responsibility, assignment compatibility. Hold them together. A connection that has one but destroys the others is not enough for the season you are entering. You are looking for evidence that 2 adults can build without returning to the patterns you were called to break. And now we are ready for the part Michael kept sealed until this point. Why did the age detail need to remain hidden? Why could you not have been told earlier whether this person would look older, younger, or exactly as you once expected? The answer is waiting in the next revelation, because the hidden age truth is really a hidden timing truth. And once you see that, the entire delay will look different. Chosen one. This is the moment the message has been preparing you to receive. You have already seen why age alone cannot reveal readiness. You have already seen the 3 markers that matter more than a birthday: peace, mature responsibility, assignment compatibility. Now, the hidden truth can come into focus because the real mystery was never the number. It was the teaming behind the number. For a long time, you may have imagined that heaven would prepare someone who matched your expectations perfectly. Similar age, similar pace, similar milestones. But divine preparation is not built around making your imagination comfortable. It is built around forming 2 people who can meet with enough maturity to carry what comes next. This is the false summit. Some people hear a hidden age truth and assume the future spouse must be older. Others assume the surprise must be that the person is younger. But Michael is pushing you deeper. The hidden truth is not a specific number. It is that the person prepared for you may not fit the age expectation you built inside your mind. And that difference, if there is one, is not the qualification. What matters is whether both of you arrive in the same season of maturity and assignment. One person may have lived more years, while the other reached certain lessons earlier. Now something else becomes clear. The years were not necessarily separating you. They may have been synchronizing what each person had to become. While you were learning boundaries, the other person may have been learning responsibility. While you were learning not to chase, they may have been learning not to run. This is why some of your waiting felt so strange. You were ready in one area, but not every area. The other person may have been ready in another area, but not every area. If the connection had happened too early, desire could have arrived before capacity. Attraction could have arrived before structure. 2 people can want something deeply and still be unprepared to carry it well. That is the hidden age truth. Age, is not destiny. Readiness is not guaranteed by years. Maturity cannot be measured by a birth date. The person prepared for your future does not become right because they are older, younger, or exactly your age. They become recognizable through peace, responsibility, truth, and shared direction. That should free something inside you. You do not have to scan every face and wonder if the number matches. You do not have to turn your future into a calculation. You do not have to reject someone because they fall outside an old expectation. And you do not have to accept someone simply because they fit the picture perfectly. Look at the fruit. Look at how they handle pressure. Look at how they respond to your boundaries. Look at whether their words and actions remain connected over time. Character becomes visible through repetition. And hear this carefully. If there is an age difference, the difference itself is not a sign from heaven. A number cannot certify a relationship. A strong feeling cannot certify a relationship. Even beautiful timing cannot replace discernment. You still observe reality. You still protect your peace. You still let character reveal itself slowly. Michael is not giving you permission to ignore wisdom. It is removing one shallow measurement so deeper discernment can take its place. You are being trained to notice what is stable instead of what is dramatic, and to recognize maturity without confusing intensity with love. This is where the chosen one inside you changes. You stop asking, "When will somebody finally choose me?" You begin asking, "What kind of connection can actually carry the life I am becoming?" That question moves you out of desperation and returns your attention to who you are becoming. And now the delay looks different. Some of the waiting may have been preparation you could not recognize while you were inside it. The disappointment taught you boundaries. The endings taught you how inconsistency feels. The loneliness exposed where you were still tempted to measure your worth by whether another person stayed. That does not mean every painful event was divinely arranged. You do not need to call every loss a sign. What matters now is what you learned, what you will no longer tolerate, and what kind of peace you are ready to protect. So let the mystery close. Why did the age detail remain hidden? Because a number would have distracted you from character. What is the real truth? Timing and maturity matter more than the picture you imagined. Who is this message for? It is for the chosen one who is tired of confusing urgency with destiny and is ready to recognize connection through clear evidence. Why, what, who? Let those three questions settle. They close the old loop and prepare you for the next step. Clarity does not only matter in relationships, it matters in every decision you make when emotion is loud and your mind is crowded. Earlier, I mentioned the Genius song for that reason, not as a shortcut to find a spouse, not as a way to predict your future. It cannot tell you who heaven prepared, and it cannot replace your judgment. It is presented as a short audio designed around brain entrainment and gamma activity, with the purpose of supporting focus and mental clarity. For someone who has spent years overthinking signals and replaying conversations, the connection is simple. Clearer attention can make it easier to notice what is actually happening instead of reacting only to fear. That is the bridge, not prophecy, not magic. A tool intended to support focus while you practice better discernment. The verified page is in the description and the pinned comment. You do not need to leave this message now. In the next part, I will explain the full details, what the offer contains, and what protection comes with it. Then you can decide for yourself whether it belongs in your routine. But notice what has already changed. You are leaving behind the version of yourself who needed an exact age to feel secure. You are leaving behind the version who thought a timeline could guarantee love. You are becoming someone who can recognize mature connection through evidence. Chosen one, this is the climax of the mystery. The hidden truth was never that your future spouse is a certain number of years older. It was never that they are a certain number of years younger. The hidden truth is that heaven may prepare someone who challenges your old expectation, but the real sign is the maturity both adults can carry together. The years were not the message. The synchronized readiness was the message. The number was never the covenant. The character was. Once you understand that, you can stop trying to solve your future like a puzzle and start recognizing peace, responsibility, and shared purpose when they appear. What comes next is the practical decision point. You will see how to protect your clarity, reduce mental noise, and move from revelation into a next step without turning faith into pressure. The secret has been opened. Now you must decide which ruler you will use from this moment forward. Chosen one. Now that the hidden age truth has been opened, the final question is simple. What will you do with the clarity you have been given? A revelation means little if you return to the same habits that kept you confused. You do not need another season of chasing signs. You need to protect your attention and make decisions from what is actually present. That is why I mentioned the Genius song earlier. According to the product page, the Genius song is a 7-minute digital audio built around brain entrainment and gamma activity, with the intention of supporting focus, mental clarity, and a more organized state of attention. Understand what that does not mean. This audio cannot reveal your future spouse. It cannot tell you their age. It cannot guarantee a relationship, money, luck, or a spiritual outcome. It is presented as a listening practice for people who feel mentally scattered or unfocused. The product page says the audio was developed around the work of Dr. Robert Lake and presents his experience as spanning 34 years. It also references institutions while explaining the gamma concept. Those are claims made by the product page, so review them for yourself before making any purchase. Mental fog can make every decision feel urgent. When attention is scattered, you can mistake intensity for importance. You can interpret every message as a sign, every silence as rejection, and every emotional spike as proof that something dramatic must be happening. Clearer attention gives you room. It lets you ask, what is really happening here? Is this person consistent? Is this connection peaceful? Am I responding to truth, or am I responding to fear? According to the product page, the normal price is $49, while the current offer is $39. The page includes 4 digital bonuses. Genius Child is listed at $19, a classic book collection at $20, a guided visualization at $29, and a 5-habit infographic at $12. Together, those bonuses are presented as an $80 value. The real question is whether you would use them. If the audio and resources fit the focus routine you want, the offer may be worth examining. If not, you should feel no pressure to buy it. The page also presents a 90-day money-back guarantee and says you can still keep the 4 bonuses after a refund. It reports more than 18,366 users and a refund rate under 4%. Those figures come from the seller, so treat them as product claims. Think about the cost of repetition. How many hours have you lost to mental loops that produced no answer? How many times have you reread a message before any new evidence appeared? A tool alone will not do the work. You still need boundaries, rest, honest conversations, and wise decisions. But a simple practice can become a cue that says, this is the moment I stop spiraling and return to what I can actually observe. If you decide to look for the Genius song, use the verified page linked in the description or the pinned comment. Do not rely on random copies or unofficial downloads. The product file warns about counterfeit versions, and you should know who stands behind the guarantee. This is your decision moment. You do not need to prove faith by purchasing anything. You do not lose a blessing by saying no. You do not become more chosen by spending money. The useful question is whether this tool fits your goals after you review the terms. If the answer is yes, the verified link is in the description and pinned comment. Read the page and make your own choice. If the answer is no, keep the principle anyway. Protect your clarity. Do not let emotional urgency make decisions for you. And now the sales message ends here. The final part belongs to you, not to a product. The deeper transformation was never about buying something. It was about becoming someone who no longer needs confusion to feel connected to destiny. Chosen one, remember what you learned. The age was never the covenant. The number was never the proof. A person does not become right for you because they match the picture you made years ago. They become recognizable through peace, mature responsibility, honesty, and shared direction. You are no longer being asked to predict. You are being asked to discern. Prediction tries to remove uncertainty before life unfolds. Discernment allows life to reveal itself, while you remain grounded enough to honor what is actually true. So if someone enters your life, do not rush to label them. Watch, listen, notice. Let time reveal whether words and actions remain connected. Let boundaries reveal whether respect is real. Let disappointment reveal whether maturity is present. Let peace reveal what excitement alone cannot tell you. If their age surprises you, do not panic. If it fits exactly what you expected, do not assume that proves anything either. Age can describe part of the story of a person, but it cannot replace the character that story produced. The timelines may not look identical, but shared readiness is possible when two adults have done enough inner work to meet without turning love into rescue, control, or performance. That is the connection you are learning to recognize. Perhaps this is why old doors had to close, not because you were unlovable, not because you missed your chance, but because you were learning the difference between being chosen for convenience and being met with maturity. You were learning not to abandon yourself just because someone offered attention. Keep that lesson. Do not trade it for urgency. Do not trade it for loneliness. Do not trade it because someone arrives with the right appearance, the right words, or the right age. What is real will be able to survive observation. You have spent enough time wondering whether you are behind. You are not required to race another timeline. You are not required to make your life match milestones set by someone else. Your work is to become peaceful, responsible, and awake enough to recognize those qualities when they stand before you. So release the old ruler, release the obsession with when, release the need to know exactly who, release the pressure to turn every encounter into prophecy. Let your future remain open enough for truth to surprise you. The message from Michael has brought you to one final choice. Will you measure love by the number you expected or by the character you can actually see? Will you chase intensity or protect peace? Will you force timing or allow maturity to reveal itself? If your answer is clear, write, "I choose peace and discernment." Let those words become a standard, not a superstition. Let them remind you that your future does not need fear to arrive. Chosen one, the hidden age truth has done its work. It removed a distraction. It returned you to wisdom. Now you can walk forward without needing every detail in advance, because a person aligned with your next season will not need you to abandon your clarity in order to recognize them. Your task is simple. Stay awake, stay grounded, protect your peace, honor what is true, and when a mature connection appears, let character speak louder than the number ever could.